So identifying what value this infinite series converges to could be a lot of work depending on which strategy you try. If you try expanding this and then finding a pattern for the partial sums, that's going to be a lot of work. In other words, if you do the following, you let n equal 1 and 2 and 3, and you develop a series of terms being added together, and then you find the sum of the first term, and then the sum of the first two terms, and the sum of the first three terms, and four terms, etc. And then we can try to find a pattern. We can do this, and then we can try to find a pattern. And if you can find a rule for the nth partial sum, then we've defined a converging series to be equal to the limit as n approaches infinity of the sequence of partial sums. So can we come up with a rule for the numerator, 4, 11, 21, 34, 50, etc.? And how about a rule for the denominator? I don't think this is the strategy you want to use, because I don't know if you know how to find those patterns or if you know how much work that is, but there's a much easier way. It can be expressed with this expression, and the numerator's values can be expressed with this expression, except these are supposed to be n's, pardon me. Alright, so the nth partial sum is this expression, and so we can take the limit as n approaches infinity of the nth partial sum, and we know that that's going to be just the ratio of the leading terms on both sides, and that's equal to 3. So coming up with these expressions, I think, is potentially really difficult. If you have a calculator with a quadratic regression function, it makes it a lot easier. Otherwise, coming up with them involves creating a system of 3 equations, and it's a lot of work. So let's go over a different way for doing number 27. Whenever you have a rational expression and the denominator is factorable or factored, we can always try to rewrite this fraction into a sum or difference of 2 simpler fractions. You know, partial fraction decomposition. So I'm not going to go through that entire process. I'm just going to rewrite it using partial fraction decomposition. And if you need a review of that, then ask in class or send me an email to review partial fraction decomposition. So this fraction decomposes into the following. All right, and then once you decompose that fraction this way, now we want to expand this subtraction problem, this term, when n is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. You want to do a lot of them. And we don't want to actually do the subtraction. We just want to write it out this way. This is called telescoping. This is a telescoping series. So if we expand it, we'll see this. Expand a bunch when n is 1, when n is 2, when n is 3. And you're going to notice that there's a pattern of cancellations. So let's start with this 2 over 1. This is a positive 2 over 1. Do we have any negative 2 over 1s? The only negative terms come after the subtraction signs, and they are getting closer to 0. They'll never get to minus 1. So this thing stays right where it is. How about the negative 2/3? Oh, the negative 2/3 cancels out with this positive 2/3, which was, if we just counted terms, or just counted, but it doesn't matter what we call them, is 1, 2, 3 away. Okay, what about this 2 over 2? That's a 1. Do we ever have a negative 1? No, never. So that's going to stick around. And then what about this negative 2/4? Aha, negative 2/4 and positive 2/4. And again, it was 1, 2, 3 away. They'll cancel each other out. What about negative 2/5? Negative 2/5, if we go 1, 2, 3, oh, there it is, positive 2/5. Negative 2/6, 1, 2, 3, yep, positive 2/6. Negative 2/7, positive 2/7. So, except for this 2/1 and 2/2, it looks like every single term will be getting canceled out. The pattern just continues as we telescope down the series. What's going to happen at the very end? All these terms are getting infinitely smaller, right? So if everybody's canceling out, if we ever stop anywhere, they're going to be really, really small. And as n approaches infinity, everything's canceled out. And when you approach an infinite number of terms, not that you can approach that, but as you approach an infinite number of terms, what's not crossed off is basically shrinking to 0. So all we're left with is 2 plus 1, which is our answer of 3. This is how you should do problems like this. Write them as a subtraction problem, expand a bunch of terms out, and find the pattern of cancellations. Some things don't get canceled out though. That's basically what our infinite series converges to. By the way, if you were to just stop somewhere, you would stop at this term. The infinite series really goes on forever and ever and ever, but if you were to stop somewhere, everybody's crossed off except for some terms with n's under them, or n plus 2's under them, and as n approaches infinity, those things go to 0. Again, we converge to 3.